Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, we have a great show for you today. It was almost an organizational sweep. Tulsa was the only team in the system last night that didn't win. So there's a lot of great action to get to. And of course, the Dodgers won at the top. They finished their series with the Twins by beating Minnesota 2 out of 3. The big grand slam by James Outman. So a lot of great action to get to. Bobbymiller was in action. Emmetsheehan was unbelievable for Tulsa. And Maddox Bruns, he made his second start for Great Lakes. And then Jared Karros pitched for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. So a lot of great action to get to. But hey, before we dive into all that, just a reminder, if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily, we do now have a GoFundMe account, and we also have a Patreon page. So hey, go over to Patreon, become a member of our Patreon page. We have different tiers there if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily. Also, if you like this video and if you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that like button, leave a comment, tell all your friends about Dodgers Daily, become a subscriber, and share this video. After you subscribe, okay, click that notification bell, turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video, you'll be notified. You won't miss a thing. Dodgers Daily will keep growing, and we can keep providing you content like this in the future. Okay, again, the big grand slam by James Outman. He has been absolutely ridiculous. That's his 4th grand slam in the last year. He also has 2 cycles, and then he also, he got the base hit earlier, stole a base, then got knocked in and generated a run. So a good day for James Outman, a good day overall for the Dodgers, a good day for the system. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So with their win yesterday, the Dodgers are now 28-16 on the year. That is the best record in the National League. It's the second best record in all of baseball, only behind the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And now the Dodgers are, they're still, 3 games ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they are 7.5 games ahead of San Francisco, who is now in 3rd place. And then San Diego is now in 3rd place, and the Dodgers have an 8-game lead over them. So 3-game lead in the division, and then the best record overall in the National League, second best record in the major leagues, only behind Tampa Bay, who has been insanely good this year. So, hey, hard to complain if you're a Dodgers fan, considering, you've lost Dustin May now. Last night we saw that. We'll see what the Dodgers do with that. So you had to bring in Dylan Covey, an old Major League veteran, who gave you, good length, and he gave you a good outing, only a couple of runs in 4-point innings total, but you got through that deal. So with all, like I've said many different times, with all the different injuries, the new guys, the rookies you're incorporating, to have the best record in the National League, second best record in the major leagues overall, that is very impressive. So the front office, Dave Roberts, they certainly need credit for that, at least at this point. But hey, the schedule heats up. You got St. Louis. I've talked about chunking your season. You need to win, all 3 of those. Of course, I talked about only winning 2 out of 3 in the Padres series, and you swept that one. So that did give you a little bit of buffer as far as if you just kind of wanted to look at short-term goals. But okay, hey, let's go ahead and sweep the Cardinals like you did last time. The Cardinals are absolutely struggling, but to do that, you got to win the first game, and that begins tonight here on Thursday night. So you can't look necessarily, hey, let's win all 3. You got to look and just say, let's win the first game. And so the Dodgers will concentrate on doing that. As Eddie Day is a dear friend of mine, he played in the Cardinals system. It just hurts him very bad. The Cardinals have struggled the way they do, and like I said, they have been one of the better franchises over the years in the major leagues. So hey, it's not, just because you have a lot of money, or just because you have great baseball fans, or because you always have been good in the past, doesn't mean you won't go through down periods. The Cardinals are certainly in one of those right now. So let's take advantage of that. Let's sweep them going into the Braves and then Devil Rays, both on the road. How about that? Back-to-back for difficulty. The Braves have the second best record in the National League, and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays have the best record overall in the major leagues. That's what you have coming up after St. Louis. So in that way, this is a huge series, because, if you don't win at least 2 out of 3, you go into Atlanta and then Tampa Bay, that reduce your amount of buffer that you would have in those 2 series. But we talked about the streak the Dodgers have been on. They've created, some pretty good buffer, a 3-game lead. So when you go into Atlanta and Tampa Bay, you don't have to necessarily, go in there and win both of those series. You'd like to, but if you don't, if you just kind of tread water and just keep your 3-game lead, maybe just give up 1 game in the next 2 weeks over those 2 series, then you're looking pretty good. Then you can go back on another streak and create a little more distance to give yourself a little bit more buffer. Okay, so last night offensively, hey, it was a good game. I mean, I like the way the Dodgers played offense. They had 6 different guys get a base hit. They scored in 3 different innings, but in 2 of the innings, James Outman generated a run. He got a base hit, then he got knocked in, and then obviously Mookiebetts hit the triple. Freddiefreeman then sac flied him in, and then in the 7th inning, the Dodgers were down 3-2, and you had the old bloop and a blast. The 2 bloops and a blast. You also had a walk in there, and then James Outman. One thing I love about the way that happened is if you watch him run around the bases and then meet his teammates, it's obvious that he wasn't surprised. He didn't have way too much energy, which pitchers can use against him, and he just totally was in the moment, and he was in control of the moment. You can just tell, no arrogance, no cockiness, no, hey, look at meanness to it. It just, hey, he hit the home run. He wasn't surprised. He ran around the bases. He got congratulated. He went back in the dugout, just like he's always done it before. And Coach Daves would always tell me that, hey, the best teams, they just kind of go about their business. They don't even really notice the other teams on the field. And then, they just kind of, they win their game or they win their moment, and they just walk off like they've done it before. Act like you've done it before. James Outman did that last night when he hit his grand slam, and that's because he has done it before. I mentioned just a minute ago, that is his 4th grand slam in less than a year. If you go back on calendar days, he has 4 grand slams in less than a year on the calendar, and he also has 2 cycles. So James Outman, hey, he is one who has just absolutely been hugely clutch in the last couple of years. I don't know if hugely clutch is a proper way to say that, but that's what James Outman has been. So the grand slam again last night to give the Dodgers the distance, and the win to get to 7 runs yesterday. Okay, so top 4 in the lineup all had hits. Okay, top 5 out of 6 had hits. So, you want to kind of balance your offense, but obviously when the top of your lineup, when all 4 in a row get hits, and then Mookiebetts and Freddiefreeman, they teamed up, and then you can score runs in the middle to the bottom of the middle of your lineup. I like having the rookies back-to-back. I think they've seen each other and they play with each other so many times on different teams that I think when one of them sees the other have success, I think that shoots a whole bunch of adrenaline and excitement and confidence through their veins as far as that particular matchup and their ability to have success as well. So I think when James Outman saw Miguel Vargas draw the good walk in front of him, he walked to home plate with a whole lot of confidence, and he showed it, like I said, with the grand slam. Okay, runners in scoring position. Last night, the Dodgers were 2 for 10, but hey, when one of those hits is a grand slam, it does not matter. We talk about all the time. When you can slug, it sure simplifies the game, and when you can slug with the bases loaded and hit grand slams, that simplifies it by infinite amounts because that makes it just a lot easier to, whenever you're scoring 4 runs with just 1 hit, that obviously makes things quite a bit easier. So, hey, it was good last night. As far as only 2 for 10, we talked about in the last couple of series, the Dodgers were 2 for 8 and won their games comfortably. This time just 2 for 10, which isn't great. The Dodgers have been one of the worst teams as far as leaving runners on base. But hey, like I said, if one of your 2 hits the grand slam, you'll certainly take that. Okay, wasted chances last night. You had bases loaded, 1 out in the first, and you had first and second, 1 out in the third. So really only 2 wasted opportunities. And like I said, whenever you cashed in as much as you did with the sac fly with Mookiebetts, and then, you had the base hit that scored Outman, and then the grand slam, so when you cashed in like that, you can take the fact that you only had 2 wasted opportunities. Matter of fact, you generated innings. You generated 2 innings, okay, with the base hit by Outman, then the stolen base and the triple by Betts, and then the sac fly. So you scored in 2 innings playing good team baseball, and then you only wasted 2 opportunities. I think the way the Dodgers slug, if those 2 are equal as far as wasted opportunities and manufactured innings that you score runs in, if those are ever equal, the Dodgers are going to be a good offense because, like I said, we know they're going to slug, we know they're going to walk, and it's not necessarily the home run, it's the walks in front of it that the Dodgers, home runs are good, but solo home runs a lot of times don't beat opponents. So many times it's the walk in front of those solo home runs that really makes the difference, because that turns you from a one-run inning into a crooked number, and the crooked numbers are what really dominate games. And if you'll just look, and I don't have the exact stats on this, and this may not be as accurate at the major league level as it is, maybe levels below that, but many, many, many different times, the team that wins the game will score more runs in one inning than the opponent, the losing team, will score the entire game. And that was the case last night. That happens all the time. Winning teams, they'll have a 3, 4, 5 spot. The other team will only score 2 or 3 runs the whole game, and the winning team scored more in that one crooked number inning than the other team did in the entire game. Okay, so final thoughts on the offense. I thought, like I said, I'm going to just circle back around. Any time that you can generate runs in 2 innings and only waste 2 opportunities, that equals out there. The Dodgers didn't slug. That's very good. James Outman, very impressive. Obviously the grand slam, but then the single, then the stolen base, the way he handled himself, the way he handled the moment, that was very impressive. So I thought, and then again, the Dodgers, all 4 at the top, 5 out of the first 6 hitters had base hits, so you spread it out there. You scored at the top of your lineup. You scored in the middle of your lineup. Didn't necessarily score towards the bottom of it, but you didn't need to when you had the grand slam. Okay, let's move to pitching. And a surprise to me, I've talked a couple of times that if the Dodgers wanted to dip into their AAA pool of guys who have major league experience, I thought it would be Matt Andriese. Of course, if you just match numbers in AAA this year, Matt Andriese has a 5.50 ERA with AAA Oklahoma City. Dylan Covey has a 4.22 ERA, so Covey has been slightly better at AAA Oklahoma City. But when you look at the major league experience, okay, for Matt Andriese, he has a 4.53 ERA in 509 innings in the major leagues, whereas Dylan Covey's ERA in the major leagues has been 6.5. So Matt Andriese had, almost twice the amount of innings and better success at the major league level. So I thought that would leapfrog the slightly worse ERA in AAA, especially when you consider the fact that he was the Pacific Coast League Pitcher of the Week last week. Matt Andriese was. So I really thought it would be a slam dunk that it would be Matt Andriese, certainly over Dylan Covey, but they decided to bring Covey up, and he gave Dodgers the 4 innings and just gave up the 2 runs and really put the team in position to win last night. Of course, after Dustin May goes out, the first speculations are, I've heard 4 to 6 weeks, but he had been pitching really well. His velo had been up. And so let's just hope for the best for Dustin May. But Dylan Covey certainly put the Dodgers in position to win last night with his 4 innings, gave up just 2 runs. And how about the bullpen? They gave up absolutely nothing last night other than Caleb Ferguson made the error. He gave up the unearned run. But as far as earned runs, absolutely nothing last night. Okay, Victor Gonzalez. How about him, man? Since he's come up from AAA Oklahoma City, I got to see him a couple of times there. He has given up absolutely 0. He has given up 0 runs this year, and his velo is up. Okay, his velo is up just a tick. His sinker is sitting 95.3 this year, which is actually an entire mile per hour up. And we talked about the weight loss that he's gone on because he's able to, be a little bit more explosive and access different parts of his windup now that he wasn't able to before he lost the weight. His velo is up an entire mile an hour. That 1 mile an hour click that means a lot, because everything else plays off of that, and that makes a big difference. So again, Victor Gonzalez, he's up a mile per hour, and he has not allowed an earned run this year yet. So he has been absolutely fantastic. Okay, Caleb Ferguson, we talked about the unearned run that he gave up, but other than that, he has been very, very, very good this year. Okay, his ERA is 110, his whip is 110, and he has 19 strikeouts, just 4 walks, and 16.1 innings. Okay, and his velo is 95.6, which is up from last year and the same it was 2 years ago in 2020. So again, Caleb Ferguson coming off the injuries, his velo is up as well. as far as from last year. So obviously he's healthy and feeling very good right now, and he is looking really good for this Dodgers bullpen. And then Brusdar Graterol, a young man that I think takes a little bit too much fire from Dodgers fans. His ERA is 2.60 on the year. Okay, his whip is 121. His average against is 2.65, and he has 14 Ks and 17.1 innings. So you'd say, hey, he can hit 101 and his ball moves. Why doesn't he have more swing and miss? I think that kind of is deceptive for Dodgers fans as far as, you know, how good he's actually been. Okay, and I think the Dodgers fans tend to maybe focus on when he doesn't, you know, when he does give up some runs, because, you know, Brusdar Graterol has been better than I think what Dodgers fans have given him credit for. Okay, so he has not allowed a run in his last 4 outings, so he's been good recently. All right, and he went on a 9-game scoreless streak in April. And then last year, okay, when he was healthy, I've said this a couple of times, he was very, very, very good. Well, how about this? Okay, he finished the regular season last year going scoreless in 14 out of his last 16 outings. It actually was like 13 in a row, something like that. Then 13 out of 14, then 14 out of 16. So like I said, Brusdar Graterol, he has been very good, and he goes long stretches. We saw it in April this year, the last 4. As far as in May this year, he hasn't gone scoreless. We see him go on long scoreless streaks. He did that last year. He's doing it this year. He's already had 2 streaks this year that have been very good. One very good in April. He started another one here in May. So Brusdar Graterol, he has been better than I think Dodgers fans, like I said, give him credit for. 2.60 ERA, a whip, 121. Okay, next up, the Cardinals. Then it's at the Braves, who have the best National League record, and then at Tampa Bay, who have the best record in the Major League. So that's our Dodgers talk for today as far as LA goes. Time now to transition to the minor league system for the Dodgers. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it, and let's take a trip down on the farm. Bobby Miller got the start for AAA Oklahoma City last night, and it was his longest and best outing of the year. He went 6 innings, gave up just 1 run, and had 6 strikeouts. The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers scored 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 8th, and they defeated the AAA affiliates of the Houston Astros, the Sugarland Space Cowboys, 5-1. Yonder Hernandez had a big double. He went 1 for 4 on the evening. And then also Lukewilliams had a big home run. He had 2 hits and an RBI. Johnny DeLuca got his first hit in AAA that we're going to talk about as well. And Devin Mann, he also got a hit. Bobby Miller pitched. So did Alex Vesia, taylerscott, Nick Robertson. We're going to talk all about those 3 pitchers. So again, the Dodgers, the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers, they win 5-1 last night over the Sugarland Space Cowboys. Bobby Miller was feeling it last night. Again, like I said earlier, it was his longest and best outing of the year. He went 6 innings. He struck out 6, and he gave up just 1 run. He hit as high as 102. His fastball sat 99.4. And I'll tell you what, if you watch the entire video, but we're going to see it here in just a minute. When he right here, look at that emotion. I love that out of Bobby Miller. I've talked about it a couple of times. He does not like failing. He just absolutely is such a competitive dude. And hey, he has that art of, like I've talked about quite a bit, you know, as far as being pitching with emotions but not being emotional. He is absolutely great at that. So Bobby Miller, I love the emotions. I love the 101.2. I love the fact that he sat 99.4, and his off-speed stuff was great as well. And again, the longest and best outing of the year last night for Bobby Miller, 6 innings, and he had 6 Ks, just 1 run. Alex Vesia threw 1 scoreless inning last night for AAA Oklahoma City. That's his 5th scoreless outing in a row. And if you go to my social media, you can see every pitch of his outing last night. And again, this is, you know, Alex Vesia's first time out in AAA Oklahoma City. He gave up the 5 runs in the 2/3 of an inning. Since then, he has been very, very good. So if you want to check out his process and his progress, I should say, back down on the farm in AAA Oklahoma City. You can see every pitch of last night's performance. The South African Taylerscott threw a scoreless inning last night for AAA Oklahoma City. I'll tell you what, man, this guy, he has major league experience, minor league contract, something I talk about all the time, the Dodgers love, and he has been absolutely nails for AAA Oklahoma City. His ERA is just 1.17 on the year. His average against is just 1.96, and he has gone scoreless in all but 2 outings this year. All but 2, he has gone scoreless, and in those 2 outings, he's only given up single runs. So he's only given up runs twice, and we'll look at Lukewilliams. Nice play to Michael Busch, and turn that thing back to Devin. Man, I love that play. And in those 2 outings that he did give up runs, he only gave up 1 apiece in both of those outings. So, hey, how about that? And he has 15 outings total. Again, Taylerscott we're talking about. I love that 3/4 slot. Kind of like Ryan Sablett I always talk about. He gets that 3/4 slot, but he's also able to stay on top of the ball to get that carry with that backspin on his 4 seam. So Taylerscott, and then also because of that 3/4 slot, that slider is really good. So Taylerscott doing a great job in the Oklahoma City bullpen. Nick Robertson, I've always talked about he's 94 to 96. Well, hey, last night he sat 96. That means his fastball actually averaged 96. So his fastball averaged what he normally, what normally is the top end range for his fastball. So he has accessed a little bit more easy power to create some more consistent velocity this year, and he has been absolutely fantastic. He was great again last night. He made quick work of the Space Cowboys in the 9th. Robertson lowered his whip down to 0.86. Again, Nick Robertson, his whip is 0.86. His average against is just 1.88, and his ERA is 2.41. This was his 9th scoreless outing in a row, and he is only allowed, we talked about Taylerscott not allowing very many runs as far as per outing. Okay, Nick Robertson has only allowed runs in 2 of his 17 outings this year, so great job. The Pro Duke out of James Madison, Nick Robertson. Super talented Johnny DeLuca, man. Has a lot of Ricky Henderson in his game in the sense that he hits a lot of home runs, and then also he steals a lot of bases, kind of has that style of game. Got his first hit in AAA. First of all, congratulations to Johnny DeLuca. Him and Andy Paez getting promoted up to AAA, very well deserved. They're both just tremendously talented young outfielders. Both right-handed sticks, something the Major League club could dearly use to hit off of left-handers. We've talked about the Dodgers not being able to hit left-handers very well, so you would think the Dodgers are looking at DeLuca and Paez pretty heavily right now as far as promotions to LA further down the year, just to have matchups to bring in against left-handed pitchers. So, hey, Johnny DeLuca, Andy Paez, congratulations on your promotions to AAA. Very well deserved. And this is Johnny DeLuca's very first hit in AAA, where he hit it just a ringing triple off the center field wall. DeLuca, as he got promoted, he was hitting .271, OPS .947, 10 home runs, 9 stolen bases. So like I said, he hits home runs, he steals bases. The 2020 watch is in full force right now for Johnny DeLuca. Lukewilliams had 2 hits for AAA Oklahoma City last night, including his 5th home run, and he also had a stolen base, all of which you're going to see in this video. This is a single right here. If we talk long enough, if you want to see the rest of it, here's a stolen base right there. You saw his base hit, steals a base, generates a run, kind of like we talked about James Outman yesterday. Get a base hit, generate a run. Then your next time up, do this right here. Kapow. Wow, look at that home run. All the way up there into the Budweiser deck. Well, that was an impressive home run. So very similar night to James Outman. Of course, his home run wasn't a grand slam, but you get a base hit, you steal a base, generate a run for your team, then your next time up, you get a home run. So Lukewilliams having good success at AAA Oklahoma City. He had a good night last night. The tulsadrillers, well, we're not going to talk a whole lot about them on this show, just for the simple fact that there's not a whole lot to talk about. They didn't score last night, okay? And they only had 1 hit. That hit was by Jose Ramos. So a very talented team. The Drillers are 22-13 on the year, so they have been very good. But last night was not one of their best performances. Again, they got 1 hit, just 1 hit from Jose Ramos. But who you're seeing on your screen right here, I'll tell you what, Emmetsheehan, he was absolutely ridiculous again last night. He had 10 more strikeouts in 5 innings. That moves his total now to 58 Ks on the year in just 34 innings. A young man out of New York and then Boston College, who I've tried to tell people for a while now that that he has one of, if not the most explosive fastballs in the entire system. The way it comes out of his hand, the way it's deceptive, the way he gets extension on it, and just the way it gets on top of hitters and then has a little bit of movement and great ride to it. His fastball is super explosive, and if you need any evidence of that, just look at his strikeout numbers. Again, 10 more strikeouts last night in 5 innings. And then also, not only is he explosive, but he didn't walk anybody last night, and he gave up just 2 hits. So you're getting the great part of the explosiveness as far as the strikeouts, but then you're not also getting the walks. You know, a lot of times to strike guys out, you get deep into counts, and you're having to throw some really nasty stuff and make strikes look like not strikes. So if they don't swing, maybe you're throwing more balls than other guys would. Not with Emmett Sheehan. This young man is able to strike a whole bunch of guys out while not walking anybody and then not giving up anybody any hits. That crowd last night at Corpus Christi was huge, and that's because Jose Altuve was there. And if you want to go to my social medias, it was kind of neat. John Rooney came in relief for Emmett Sheehan, and before he ever threw a pitch, he picked off Jose Altuve off of first base. If you want to see that, that's on my social media. But again, okay, Emmett Sheehan, great job last night. I think this young man is probably in line for a promotion to AAA Oklahoma City. Maybe sooner, if not later. Of course, I'm terrible at predicting those things, and I have no inside information on that because I won't ask, because it's none of my business. But I would have to think the way he's thrown. He got promoted to AA Tulsa last year, I believe somewhere around June, July, something like that. So we'll see, but I do think that before the end of the year, I'll say that, I think I will be watching Emmett Sheehan pitch in Oklahoma City instead of Tulsa. The Great Lakes Loons only scored in 1 inning, and that was all they needed because they put up a big-time crooked number 4 runs in the 6th inning to take down the West Michigan Whitecaps 4-2, the high A affiliates of the Detroit Tigers. Hitting-wise, Austin Gauthier had a hit. Taylor Young had a hit as well. Alex Freeland, the switch-hitting shortstop, had a hit. Griffin Lockwood Powell had another hit as well, and he walked. And then Damonkeith, he had an RBI and 2 base hits. We're going to talk about him. Jake Vogel had a hit. Who you're seeing on your screen right here is Maddox Bruns. It was a roller coaster ride for him. He had 5 walks, but then he only gave up 1 run because his stuff is so explosive, and he was super gritty, and he made all the big pitches he needed in the big moments. So, hey, kind of a mixed bag for him. I'm sure he would like to have better command and not have the 5 walks and make it quite as stressful. But then if you look at the other end of it, it showed that, hey, in the big moments, whenever he needs to make a big pitch, he is obviously able to do it. So big time potential for him. So in 4 innings, he gave up just 1 run. This was Bruns' second performance since being promoted to High A Great Lakes. He's only given up 3 hits in 7.2 innings. So big time potential for the young man out of Mobile, Alabama. Reynaldo De Paula was flashing a big-time breaking ball yesterday. Right there, that tight slider, that's more of his cutter-type pitch. He was flashing a bigger breaking ball than that. There's another one right there. That's not the best one that he threw all day yesterday. There's another cutter-type pitch, but his breaking ball was really, really nice yesterday. There's a good changeup at 84 miles an hour, I should say. So De Paula there, he's right at the top of the zone with his 4-seam. Okay, yesterday he threw a scoreless inning and had 2 Ks, and his average against on the year is just 1. Look at that breaking ball right there. That's the one I'm talking about. That was a big-time breaking ball. There's another good one right there, kind of a get-me-over type. Okay, so he has an average against of just 162, De Paula does, a whip of just 106, and has 22 strikeouts in 11.1 innings. So this young man, Reynaldo De Paula, keep your eyes on him. He is really good. Orlando Ortiz went 4 innings in relief and gave up just 1 run and no walks. Ortiz has an ERA. He has his ERA down to 1.13 in 3 innings this month. His whip this month is at 0.75, and his average against for May is 0.77. So Orlando Ortiz has been pitching lights out as of late for High A Great Lakes, and he's been really, really good this year. So he's been really good this year. He's been even better recently. As a matter of fact, his ERA on the year is just 1.85. His whip is 1.07, and his average against is just 1.73. So Orlando Ortiz, keep up the great work. Damonkeith had an RBI double for High A Great Lakes and had 2 hits total on the day and was on base 3 times. Damonkeith, the young man out of Cal Baptist, he's like the most California-looking dude of all time. He has that that flowing hair, and he just kind of has that laid-back looking personality to him, but also very, very, very competitive. Damonkeith has a 7-game hit streak, and it's 8 for his last 23 with a double, a home run, and 11 total bases. So a little bit slow start for Damonkeith. Of course, that's to be expected in the cold weather in the Midwest League early in the season. But as the season goes on, I promise you, he'll warm up. He has that just beautiful swing. He's always been just a great. Matter of fact, last year for periods of time, he was one of the best hitters in all of them. Look at that beautiful swing. I love that swing from Damonkeith. So, like I said, he's going to warm up as the season moves on. So, love the right-handed swing from Damonkeith. Well, I stayed up way past my bedtime last night. Of course, Rancho Cucamonga being on the West Coast, they are 2 hours behind me. So, I stayed up all the way till the end of this game, and because it was such a fun game to watch. Rancho, they didn't waste any time last night. They scored 2 runs in the first inning, a big 5 spot in the 4th, 1 the 5th, 1 in the 7th, and I'll say this, Visalia, they just simply struggled last night between making errors and walking hitters. It was quite a show that they put on, but hey, that's not Rancho's problem, and they took advantage of it and scored 9 runs. And so on the evening, it was big offensively. Jose Izada, who we're going to talk about, had 2 hits. Raindon Cone had a hit. Chris Newell had a hit. Jorge Puerta, he was the DH last night, had a hit. J.D. Alonso, who is playing right field, had a hit. Betancourt, Dayton Dooney, and Cameron Decker all had hits as well. Who you're looking at right here, Jared Karros. Boy, he was really good last night. He went 3 2/3 innings. He gave up a run on 3 hits and 5 strikeouts. He has an ERA on the year, Jared Karros, of just 1.56, which in the Cal League is really good because it's a very offensive league. And Jared Karros' whip is just 110 on the year, and his average against is just 194. And he actually has 30 strikeouts on the year and just 8 walks, and he has not allowed a run in his last 14.1 innings. So Jared Karros has been pitching really well lately. He's pitched well all year, and he pitched really good last night. Okay, what I want you to watch right here, this is Cameron Decker. Watch the hustle out of the box. Okay, watch the hustle right here, and then watch the wheels as he gets this thing turned on around second base. This dude can run, Decker. Watch, man, he's flying around those bases for that triple right there. So I love that. Okay, Decker has hits in 3 games in a row, and he has 6 for his last 13, 2 doubles, 2 triples, and 12 total bases. You can see why he has doubles and triples right here with that speed. Jose Izara had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and was on base 4 times last night for Rancho Cucamonga, and he also scored 2 runs. And he extended his hit streak to 5 games. So Jose Izara, very slick fielding shortstop, very good defensively. He's shown good pop. He's shown to be a good offensive player as of late. Again, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, on base 4 times, scored 2 runs. Jose Izara. Lucas Webb went 2 scoreless innings and gave up no runs and struck out 2. The young man out of Toronto, Ontario, a little bit older to be in single A. He's 23 years old, so that's a little bit older. So he's going to be on the fast track. You can bet the Dodgers, as he continues to have success, will fast track him. Might even get to see him in Tulsa by the end of the year. Who knows? Like I said, I'm terrible at predicting those kind of things. Okay, so he's out of Toronto, Canada, and then he went to Louisiana, Monroe, there in Louisiana. So he is 23 years old. So like I said, I think he's probably going to be on the fast track as he continues to succeed. He's gone scoreless in his last 2 outings. Lucas Webb. Joel Ibarra, I love the way he comes right at hitters with that big-time 4-seam and that hard-turning left turn to his slider. Look at that. I love the confidence. It's the way he comes right at hitters with a very explosive fastball. That thing has velo behind it. I believe it was 96, 97 last time that I got an accurate reading as far as the velo he had in a game, not last night, but in one of his performances before. Okay, Ibarra, his ERA is down to 1.15 on the year. His whip is just 1.15. So his ERA in both his ERA and whip are 1.15, and his average against is just 0.65. So hey, look at how he comes right at hitters. The hard left turning slider and the velo behind it. Joel Ibarra, and has that run to it to the arm side. So Joel Ibarra pitching really good for Rancho Cucamonga.